Dear Libra, this Saturday, the 20th, is not just another date on the calendar. It is the day your fate quietly shifts, a silent turning point marked not by thunder or spectacle, but by the subtle realignment of something cosmic, ancient, and deeply personal. You are about to receive 3 lucky breakthroughs in a row, one after the other, and they will touch every dimension of your life. Emotionally, financially, spiritually. That is why you're here. You didn't land on this video by accident. Something greater led you here. Welcome to Zodiac Whisper Tarot, where soul meets prophecy. Here, we don't just read cards, we decode whispers from the divine. Let me ask you this, Libra, when was the last time you felt truly seen, not for your balance or your charm, but for the silent weight you've carried? For the tears you've wiped alone? For the peace you've been craving but kept deferring to keep others comfortable? This reading is not simply about predictions. It's about recognition. It's about the 3 karmic gifts now making their way to you, and how they are not just meant to ease your burden, but to completely rewrite the story of who you are becoming. You see, astrology tells us that on this exact date, the moon in Pisces forms a sacred trine with Jupiter in Taurus, activating your 8th house, the seat of transformation, debt, power, inheritance, and soul-level change. Combined with the energy of the Wheel of Fortune and the Ace of Pentacles drawn in your spread, I can tell you with certainty, this is not random. This is restoration. And here's the truth. You will wipe your tears with money, not because money erases pain, but because the universe has seen your sacrifices and decided it's time for joy to flow where grief once lived. Libra, you are not here to survive. You are here to evolve. And today, we begin that sacred unfolding together. So I invite you to settle in. Breathe. This space is safe. It was prepared for you. If you feel the resonance in your chest, if something about this message is stirring a memory, a feeling, or a knowing inside you, leave a comment below to confirm your alignment. Let this be your declaration to the universe. I am Libra, and I accept my 3 breakthroughs with gratitude and divine confidence. Or simply say, I'm ready to wipe my tears with what I deserve. Because Libra, you've earned this. Not by asking, but by becoming. I want to take a moment to sincerely thank you for being here. Every like, every comment, every subscription you gift to this channel doesn't just support what we do, it strengthens the energy that binds us together as seekers and light bearers. Your presence fuels this sacred work. And trust me, you'll want to stay with me through every second of this reading. What the universe is about to reveal for you is not just beautiful. It's life-defining. So stay close. Stay open. Stay willing. You're not here by mistake. You're here because your destiny just knocked, and this time, you're ready to open the door. Sometimes, the heavens don't shout. They whisper. And when they do, only those who've been through enough storms recognize the softness of the shift. Libra, that's what's happening right now. On December 20th, a rare astrological doorway opens just for you, not through force, but through divine orchestration. You are being met where you are, not where you think you should be. The moon in Pisces extends a compassionate hand toward Jupiter in Taurus, forming a sacred trinean energetic blessing of ease and flow that touches the deepest part of your chart, the 8th house. This is not a house of trivial matters. The 8th house is where your soul stores its debts and its legacies. It's the place of karmic contracts, hidden power, emotional release, and yes, financial breakthroughs. And when Jupiter, the planet of expansion and divine grace, sends light into that chamber, things begin to dissolve. The weight of old fears, ancestral burdens, and emotional wounds begin to lift, not because you forced healing, but because you're finally ready to receive it. This is what we call divine timing. Not too late, not too soon, but precisely on time. In the tarot spread drawn under this exact sky, 3 cards emerged that never appear together by accident. The Wheel of Fortune, the Ace of Pentacles, and Justice. This is not just a reading. It's a verdict. A turning. A settlement being released from the heavens. The wheel turns not because you wished for it, but because your soul passed through enough fire to earn this rotation. The Ace of Pentacles is not just about money, it's about grounded support from the universe, showing up in forms you can actually touch: a job offer, a check in the mail, a conversation that opens doors, or a resolution you didn't expect. And Justice, dear Libra, your card shows that this moment isn't about blind luck. It's about divine alignment. About you receiving what's rightfully yours. No more. No less. Now here's the deeper truth. When a breakthrough of this magnitude is arriving, it's common to feel a little unsteady. There's a quiet part of you, one that's grown used to waiting, surviving, and making peace with less, that might whisper, "Is this really for me?" And the answer is, yes. You see, the universe is not random. It doesn't deliver miracles to check if you're worthy, it delivers them when you are ready. And readiness, Libra, isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's about choosing to stand still for a moment and say, "I don't need to fight anymore. I'm ready to receive what has always been mine." So as this trine opens the sky and aligns with your highest timeline, I invite you to walk through it fully present. Let go of the lingering beliefs that say abundance must be earned through suffering. You've already suffered enough. The ground is ready to grow something new. Take a moment now to gently reflect not on what you've lost, but on what is being restored. Ask yourself, if peace was no longer something to chase, what would it feel like to simply live in it? And know this, the blessings coming to you are not a test, not a teaser, not a temporary illusion. They are the first stones being laid on the path of a life that finally mirrors the goodness inside you. You're not here to beg for light. You are here to hold it. Stay with me. This reading has only just begun. What comes next will explain why your journey had to happen exactly the way it did. Now, take a breath, Libra, and if you feel it, comment below, "I am Libra, and I am aligned with this breakthrough." Or simply say, "I choose to receive now, fully and freely." Because saying it is an act of faith, and faith, especially the kind that grows quietly in tired hearts, is what opens every locked door the mind could never find. Let's walk through that door together. Sometimes clarity arrives not in loud thunder, but in a whisper that only the soul can hear. Libra, if you've made it here, it's because something deep within you is ready to receive clarity on a level you haven't allowed before about your emotions, your physical reality, and the lens through which you see the world. These are not random strokes of luck. What's arriving is a sequence of breakthroughs, long overdue and perfectly aligned, appearing in 3 dimensions of your life that you've silently asked the universe to heal. The first is emotional. Not the kind of surface-level change that comes from reading an uplifting quote or being distracted by something new, but the kind that roots itself so deeply in your chest that when you wake up on the morning of the 20th, you won't be able to explain what's different. Only that it is. Some pain you've been carrying, maybe for years, maybe longer, connected to someone you thought you had to keep forgiving just to keep the peace, will quietly release its grip. You won't need closure. You won't need to rehearse conversations in your head. It simply won't hurt the same way anymore. This kind of peace isn't borrowed. It's not given to you by anyone else. It comes from choosing to release, not because they deserved forgiveness, but because you do. You've been carrying someone else's weight long enough. And finally, your soul knows it's safe to let go. Then comes the material. Let's be honest, this world demands more than just emotional wellness. We are spiritual beings, yes, but we live in a material reality. And you, Libra, have been trying to make beauty from very little. The spreadsheets, the calculations late at night, the quiet panic before opening your bank app, those moments shaped your resilience, but they also tested your hope. And now, something changes. A message appears. An overdue payment lands. A door you thought was closed creaks open with the sound of opportunity. It's not charity. It's compensation. A job that sees your value. A client who finally signs. Even a debt returned from someone you'd long given up on. You don't need to hustle harder. You've done enough. This time, the energy shifts in your favor. Money starts flowing, not because you're chasing it, but because your energy is finally aligned with receiving. And finally, awareness. This third breakthrough is subtle but powerful. It's the wisdom that lets you see the pattern you're no longer willing to repeat. It's the shift in your voice when you say, "No more," and actually mean it. It's recognizing that not everyone deserves a seat at your table just because they've known you a long time. Some people are chapters, others are only paragraphs. And this weekend, you'll start seeing who's meant to continue into the next season of your life. Perhaps you'll have a dream that seems strange, but won't leave your mind. Perhaps a memory returns with new meaning. Whatever shows up, honor it. Write it down. Even if it seems trivial. A number, a phrase, a strange location, these are not just dreams. They are whispers from the higher part of you that already knows where you're headed. All three of these shifts, emotional release, financial flow, and heightened awareness, aren't coincidences. They're evidence of your timeline clearing. They're the result of your inner work aligning with outer reward. If you've ever doubted whether what you've been through had a purpose, this is your answer. It all led to now. And now, Libra, the future isn't just calling. It's opening. Don't be afraid to walk through it. Let yourself believe, this time, the breakthrough stays. What follows next isn't just about symbolism, it's a mirror of your soul's current evolution. These three cards didn't emerge by chance. They came forward together because you're standing at a crossroads between what has been and what's about to become. The star, the world, and justice, each one holds a piece of the map you've been quietly searching for. And together, they tell the story of a rebirth that no longer needs permission. The star is the first to rise. After the chaos, after the confusion, after the long spiritual winter, you begin to see light again. This card doesn't promise that everything will be perfect overnight. Instead, It reminds you that healing is possible not when the world stops hurting, but when your perspective shifts. And Libra, your perspective has shifted. You're no longer chasing peace in people, places, or plans that consistently let you down. You're returning to your inner sanctuary, the place that was never broken, only buried beneath years of overgiving. The star calls you to reconnect with that light. Not a spotlight. Not external validation. But your own quiet glow. That glow is your power now. Then comes the World, one of the most sacred cards in the tarot. It tells us that a cycle is complete. Not interrupted. Not escaped. Fully lived, fully processed, fully closed. This is crucial, Libra, because so often we think we're done with something only to find it chasing us again in a new form. But when the world shows up, it's different. This card means the loop has ended. You've learned the lesson. You've embodied the wisdom. And now, you're not repeating, you're rewriting. This is your chance to become the author of a brand new chapter. One where you are no longer playing the role of caretaker for everyone else's chaos. You are the center now. And it's not selfish to take the pen back. It's necessary. And then, as if to seal the transformation, we receive the Justice card. Your card, Libra. A sacred reminder that the universe has been watching, weighing, balancing. Not in punishment but in precision. What you are receiving now is not a handout. It's not pity. It's the natural, fair result of your devotion, your integrity, and your choice to keep showing up even when it hurt. Justice brings peace, but not the kind that asks you to be silent. This is peace with boundaries. Peace with clarity. Peace that comes because your spirit is no longer begging to be seen, it is seen. By you first. And by the world second. Together, these three cards form a triad of liberation. Hope, completion, and fairness. It's not about magical thinking, it's about energetic return. And return is a promise. Not always in the way you expect, not always on the timeline you thought, but always in the form you're ready for. If you've ever wondered whether you've done enough, whether you're worthy of what's arriving, these cards answer that question for you. You are. And not because you never fell, but because you always got back up. Now breathe, Libra. There is more ahead. And the ground you're walking on now? It's solid. Finally. There's a point on every journey where guidance must meet practice, where the light you've seen becomes the path you choose to walk. Libra, you've crossed that threshold. The alignment happening on the 20th isn't only cosmological, it's deeply personal. And what makes it truly powerful is how you choose to integrate it into your everyday life. Because transformation without application becomes inspiration left hanging in the air. But you? You're ready to bring it all home. Let's begin with money. You've been conditioned, like so many others, to believe that struggle equals worthiness. That the harder you push, the more you deserve. But abundance doesn't respond to guilt. It responds to readiness. Receiving without apology is a spiritual discipline, one you're being called to now. That's why one of the most empowering actions you can take this week is to open a well-being fund. Not just for emergencies. Not just for bills. But to quietly remind yourself, every time you see it grow, that you deserve comfort. That financial ease is not something you steal, it's something you align with. Set it up with intention. Write your name next to that fund and call it what it truly is, peace of mind. Now, your body. Your body has carried you through seasons of silent tension, especially in your shoulders, your neck, your back. It's time to allow softness. Even 5 minutes of breath in the morning sun can activate your pineal gland, the center of your intuition, and reset your entire nervous system. You don't need a retreat. You need consistency. A walk in natural light. A warm tea made from chamomile, cinnamon, or ginger to flush out stored emotional residue. Think of these not as habits, but as sacred returns to your center. Your nervous system has served you well. Give it a reason to trust the world again. Then there's your purpose, the work you do, and why you do it. If you've been dragging yourself through a role that doesn't reflect your truth, ask yourself one brave question. Is this a true reflection of my values? If the answer is no, know that change isn't betrayal. It's alignment. You may notice unexpected opportunities arising in offer, a new client, even just a chance to learn something that points you toward a future more honest than your present. Don't overthink it. Stay open. The universe never speaks louder than it does through discomfort. And your discomfort has been trying to speak. In love, this moment is even more sacred. Relationships are not meant to feel like survival. They are meant to feel like growth. If you've been holding on to someone just because you're afraid of empty space, remember that solitude isn't absence. It's spaciousness. You don't need to beg for connection. You need to allow for it to arrive freely. Consider writing a letter you don't send to an ex, a version of yourself, or even to a future partner. Let it all pour out. Let it be your ritual of release. Love that's meant for you won't require exhaustion. And through all this, keep this truth close. Applying these small changes isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before fear taught you to shrink. So, Libra, as this energy sweeps through your emotional field, your finances, your health, your mission, and your heart, take it one breath at a time. Transformation isn't a task. It's a gentle returning. And you are exactly where you're meant to be. Sometimes the most sacred answers arrive not with lightning, but in a whisper, often after the nights when no one heard you praying but God. Libra, you've walked through more than one season where all you had was faith that your tears weren't falling in vain. And now, this Saturday, the 20th, feels like a divine reply. Not dramatic. Not flashy. But quiet, strong, and undeniable. The alignment you're feeling, the astrology, the breakthroughs, the signs, is not just cosmic energy. It is a realignment of trust. Not trust in others, not even trust in outcomes, but trust in the divine timing that has been unfolding beneath everything, especially when nothing made sense. There is a passage that reminds us, all things work together for the good of those who love God. And though this reading does not preach, it recognizes that you are not just a star sign on a wheel, you are a soul being carried. You may look back and wonder why certain doors stayed shut no matter how hard you knocked. Why certain people left. Why certain things never arrived when you thought they would. But now, you may finally begin to see, it wasn't punishment. It was protection. And today, the gift isn't only the money, the opportunity, the peace. The gift is the clarity that none of this was random. That even the quietest sacrifices you made are seen, and now, they are being repaid with dignity, not pity. This is what divine justice feels like. Not a courtroom ruling, but a realignment of what's fair, of what your heart gave and what your hands are now finally allowed to receive. This is the moment when you stop living in emotional debt, and you begin collecting interest on everything you once gave without expectation. And yes, you're allowed to say thank you to the heavens without guilt. You're allowed to feel joy without apology. You're allowed to cry when something good finally finds you, not out of sadness, but because your soul recognizes the sacred in what others may call luck. This isn't luck. It's grace in motion. It's karma evolved through compassion. It's divine timing kissing your life softly and saying, it's time. So if your spirit needs a moment to speak, let it. If you want to whisper a quiet prayer, let it come from a place of bold trust. Something like, God, return to me what I once surrendered, in your mercy and in perfect timing. Let that be your vow today, not just to receive, but to receive well. To receive deeply. To receive with arms wide open, not with guilt-ridden hesitation. And if you've ever wondered whether heaven hears people like you, people who smile on the outside but cry alone, let me remind you, not one tear was wasted. Each one watered the ground where your blessings now rise. So keep your heart open. Keep your hands open. Let the rest of this message unfold for you. Something is still coming, Libra, and it's not small. It's what you always hoped was possible, only now, it's real. Dear Libra, if no one has told you this lately, let me be the one to remind you now. You are no longer the one who merely endures. You're not here to survive life, you're here to live it with grace, clarity, and yes, with abundance that matches the depth of your heart. All the wealth, peace, and wisdom we spoke of today, they are not random perks of fate. They are your spiritual inheritance, and they are arriving now because your soul has earned them. You've carried so much for so long, silently, bravely, often invisibly. You've cried behind closed doors, stayed strong when no one noticed, and gave without asking for anything in return. But the universe noticed. And this Saturday, the 20th, something shifts in your energy field, not because you begged for it, but because you've already done the work. The seeds you planted in silence are blooming loudly now, and they're bringing with them breakthroughs that will wipe your tears with real blessings. Literal abundance, not as a fantasy, but as a response. Not every miracle arrives with fireworks. Sometimes, they whisper in. They enter as quiet clarity. As the email you didn't expect. The job offer that aligns. The old debt repaid. The dream that feels like guidance. The peace that suddenly lives in your chest. And when those moments happen, Libra, don't hesitate. Don't push them away. Don't tell yourself, not yet, or maybe later. Say yes. Say thank you. Say, I'm ready. Because when you allow yourself to receive with gratitude instead of guilt, you begin to teach the universe how to treat you with honor. So I'll ask you now, Libra, from one soul to another, what would it look like if you stopped preparing for disappointment and started preparing for miracles? What would change in your life if you believed that blessings don't need to be earned through suffering but accepted through grace? Tell me in the comments, right here and now. I am Libra, and I'm ready to receive my 3 lucky breakthroughs on the 20th with love and gratitude. Or simply, I wipe my tears with money because I've cried enough. These aren't just words. They're declarations of alignment. And if this message touched your spirit, If you felt seen, heard, or lifted in any way, don't let that energy go unnoticed. Like this video so the universe knows you're saying yes. Subscribe to stay deeply connected with what's coming, because here on Zodiac Whisper Tarot, we walk with you through every divine doorway, one quiet miracle at a time. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to guide you today. Your presence here is sacred. Your story is unfolding. And the next chapter is drenched in light. See you in the next miracle.